Oh, ow, bollocks. Disturb your fart music for one moment because I've forgotten to do something. Hold on. That's it. Alright, that's the fart music for a few minutes. And we're live! And welcome to the latest edition of Botha Rants. My name is Sophia Botha. This is the YouTube show where we go through all the latest LGBT political news. And once again, I am joined by Ozma.
Hey, yeah, D&D scheduling, the more people, the more of a nightmare it is to maintain any schedules, and more likely more than one person will have a bad day for scheduling.
Right, yes, talking of schedules, last night we were supposed to be doing a video with Chaos's Mel, who you see in front of you. He actually bailed yet again, and for the last time. To be blunt about it, she's a bit of a cunt. Now we're going to do a separate video about everything which went on, because I need to have a bit of a rant about it. We're going to record that after we've done this show, and I'll post it up either later tonight or tomorrow. But in the meantime, you know, we've got to get on with all that's been in the news. And of course today is St. George's Day. Of course.
Oh, wait, really? I don't know anything about this.
Right, yes, St. George, the patron saint of England. You know, you have St. Patrick's Day, which is the patron saint of Ireland. Well, St. George is the patron saint of England, right?
Oh, okay.
Okay. And of course, it's always an excuse for the far right to basically wank over flags and, you know, get all hateful, you know, basically spout hate against anybody who isn't wanking over a flag or wrapping themselves in a flag or who isn't white, cis-normative and straight, you know? You know the deal.
Yeah.
But there's a few facts. Yeah. St. George was born in Turkey to a Turkish father and a Palestinian mother. Yeah, he was of Middle Eastern extraction and he was an immigrant. Well, he wasn't actually, because he never visited England. But still, you know, the fact that that the far right, you know, are all getting a hard on for St. George, who would have been of brown skin, does make me, you know, laugh a bit. You know, gammon. You know, they don't generally like people with brown skin. He was killed by Romans after he was he protested against the oppression of Christians. St. George never actually came to England. Yeah, how the fuck? I don't know how I actually don't know my history about this. How the fuck did he end up as the patron saint of England if he didn't ever fucking visited here? And is the patron saint for many other countries, including Palestine, Lithuania, Ethiopia, and Russia, and Georgia. Yes, Georgia. There's a clue in the name of the country. Yeah, a country named after.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, yesterday, of course, was the anniversary of Lee Rigby's death, which is just another excuse for. Now, I should. Oh, yeah, you wouldn't know about Lee Rigby. I should explain. Lee Rigby was a soldier who was basically decapitated in the middle of the street outside the Woolwich Barracks. I think it was 2012 or 2013. I can't remember. And obviously, the far right, because this was an attack carried out by crazy Islamist terrorists. The far right have basically, you know, used Lee as some sort of totem icon for them, despite the fact that goes against the wishes of his family, who do not want the far right to be using him as some sort of icon. Okay, but the real deal with the whole, you know, the gammon getting a hard on for Lee Rigby is it's actually to counter the fact that the 22nd of January, sorry, 22nd, brain fart. 22nd of April has come to be known as Stephen Lawrence Day. Now, for those who don't know, Stephen Lawrence was a black teenager who had a very promising future, who was stabbed to death in London in 1993. And basically, his death and the campaign by his family resulted in exposing, shall we say, institutionalized racism within the Metropolitan Police Force. And of course, the far right don't like this, so they're trying to use the whole Lee Rigby thing to counter, the fact that, Stephen Lawrence has become sort of an icon, an icon against racism and against racist violence. So that's that going on. But really, all this adds up to is gammon wanking over flags, though they don't always know what flag to wank over. Because they're so fucking stupid. I'll just remind people of this. I remember I have shown this before, but I'm not British, I am English, using the Union Jack. Of course, the English flag is just the red cross on a white background. And then someone does point out wrong flag, and they don't know what fucking flag. I mean, they're so fucking stupid. Yeah. Just shows how fucking stupid. I mean, these people are I've never met. Tell a lie. You do get the odd racist who is intelligent, actually, but generally you discover that they've got some sort of personality disorder. They're a psychopath.
Well, okay, so I don't want to break things down that way, because there are people obviously who haven't been diagnosed with a personality disorder that have done awful things, and I definitely don't want to incidentally or not frame stuff in such a way that stigmatizes the aspect of having a personality disorder, because there's a lot of that still built into society, where it's just like, everyone who's a killer has a personality disorder, or does horrible things has a personality disorder.
Well,
Therefore, if you have this personality disorder,
do you remember the article we covered the other week about how there had been research done on QAnon followers, and they said there was a significant proportion who had mental health problems. You were on the show. I do remember.
Yeah, no,
It's the same. It's the same thing with the the far. I mean, the far right. As I said, people like Nigel Farage, right, are egotists who are basically using the stupidity of gammon to further his fucking career, political career all the time. And it's very to people with a simple mind, it's very easy to just for him to point to some minority, whether it be the LGBTQ community or whether it be Muslims or gypsies or whatever else, to say it's their fault, you're not doing better in life. Which isn't the real reason. The real reason is that gammon won't fucking educate themselves. Look, I'll say this. I flunked school. Okay, I flunked school. Now, there was a lot of shit going on in my home life at the time, which is why. But what I basically switched off in the third year of secondary school, and I had to do retakes, and I basically, most of the I know now, I found out for myself. I educated myself. I mean, I educated myself about economics from scratch, right? So when I see a debate between Richard D. Wolff and Destiny, I know what Richard D. Wolf is saying. Okay, so
Yeah.
Anyways, the point is that I do think basically Nigel Farage picks on those people who have mental health problems. He uses them. Who have mental health problems and a lack of education. Okay, and a lack of opportunities. Right. I do think that if we had better, support for people who are mentally ill, better education and better job opportunities for people to succeed in this life, we wouldn't have such a problem with fucking fascism. Okay? I do.
I mean, that would definitely help.
Yeah. As I said, there's always going to be those people who have personality disorders who are going to hate. Okay? But they are in the minority.
Well, I mean, it's not just that. There are a lot of cultural influences. There's a reason why so many people were fine, were accepting of the fascism in Nazi Germany. It's not that
the accepting of
every single person was completely hateful. It's just
right. Okay. Someone would go down this route, but look, if you look at the election results from 1928, before the Wall Street crash, the Nazis were a laughingstock. Okay, after the Wall Street crash, they weren't. Okay, it's the economy, stupid. Okay, this is. I remember a lot of people I knew around me were really against the banking bailout. And I wasn't, because I knew I basically pointed out that, I tried to, that, banks go under, that means businesses go under. Businesses go under, that means, unemployment shoots up. And unemployment shoots up, you get fascism. It's happened before, Nazi Germany, okay?
Well, yeah, I mean... Yeah, that's definitely a major factor, and culture is another factor.
Yeah. I'm not looking. As I said, there's always going to be some level of racism, but at the moment, there is too much of it in society, and I'm trying to look at the causes, right? Rather than just treating the symptoms. Anyways.
Yeah, I just
talking about racist gobshites. Nigel Farage backs Lawrence Fox in the London mayoral race. All right, so one fascist backs another. There's a surprise.
Surprised me.
However, I don't think it's doing Lawrence much good. Oh shit. I'm missing a story. Okay. Before we get to Tommy Robinson making a dick of himself in court,
Tommy Robinson making a dick of himself? Who would have thought?
Yeah. Okay. So Lawrence Fox is polling at 1% in the London mayoral election. Yeah. Count. Count. What's this? Count Binface, who's this sort of jokey candidate, right? Who dresses up like a superhero with a bin on his head, right? Is polling better than Lawrence Fox, right? But the hilarious thing is, Lawrence Fox has spent millions on his election campaign, and he's polling at 1%.
Yeah, millions can't even get him into the 3%.
I know what's going to happen when he loses, right? Because Siddiq Khan is going to win. Okay, I thought at first he might be in trouble, but I've seen the polling and he looks like he's romping away with it. Now Siddiq Khan, of course, Labour candidate and also someone who's a Muslim. And I know what Lawrence Fox is going to say. They're going to say London's too diverse and woke. Well, if London is too diverse and woke, Lawrence, why the fuck did you stand? Yeah, maybe you would have had better chance in Sunderland, which seems to be a concentration of racist gammon. I mean, the BNP and UKIP have always done well there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, yes. So Tommy Robinson's getting sued for libel, and he's making a bit of a twat of himself in court. Now I'm gonna jump ahead to where is it? On the first day of conducting his own. To explain, Tommy Robinson's pleading poverty. Okay, which is laughable. Because we know he's getting bankrolled by the Middle East Forum, and he does get a whole shit ton of donations from usually from the Midwest of America. I mean, Tucker Carlson's had him on his show, claiming that he was a free speech martyr when he was because he went to prison. The last time he went to prison. I mean, this is a guy who's got a criminal record for violence and fraud. And he did commit fraud. He committed passport fraud. He has two passports because he's has Irish heritage, and you can do that. I mean, Kevin Logan does, but I can't quite remember the details, but he did. He went to prison for about 2 years for passport fraud, and he's also been to prison for violence. In fact, I think his first arrest was for domestic abuse. A policeman actually stepped in, seeing him give his then girlfriend or wife a slap in public. Anyways, now he's being sued for libel because he said that a Muslim kid at a school up north was basically bullying other white kids, when it turned out that actually it was completely the other way around. Anyways, he's pleading poverty, right? I don't know if he's committed. I can't remember if he has declared bankruptcy yet. But what I do know is he's doing a fiddle, because he's moved the ownership of his house and car to his wife's name, which means that if the bailiffs come round. Actually, I think he did declare bankruptcy, didn't he? Yeah, this is why. If the bailiffs come round, because creditors want their money, they can't repossess that property because it's in his wife's name. That's how the law works here. Now, as I said, Tucker Carlson, who we're going to be talking about a bit later, had him on his Fox show, completely misunderstanding the law here. Okay, basically, the last time Tommy Robinson went to prison, that I know of, it was the last time. Sorry, that was a stupid thing to say. He's possibly going back to prison for something else. But
I mean, if you fuck up your trial that badly, you will.
Well, no, it's not. It's not nothing to do with this. This is a civil case. It's actually something else. I've forgotten what. But anyways, he could be going back to prison quite soon. Basically, anyway, so the last time he was in prison, I keep trying to get to this, I'm having a few brain farts today, was because he nearly brought down a trial of a child grooming ring, okay? And child porn ring. And basically in this country there are sub judice laws, which means that basically there are restrictions on the press reporting on various trials. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Right. Now, in America, you have different laws with this. Okay. And Tucker Carlson had him on his show saying he was a free speech martyr, not knowing that we have different laws in this country. Because Tucker Carlson, like every stupid, fucking gobshite right-wing American, seems to think that the United Kingdom is the 51st fucking state.
Which is absurd, because Puerto Rico is the 51st, should be the 51st. Oh, no, sorry. Washington, D.C. should be the 51st state. Puerto Rico should be the 52nd. And UK's like should be the 53rd.
No.
Let's
No.
be.
No. We should still be part of the EU as far as I'm concerned. But anyways, enough of that. Sophie's still bitter about Brexit. I'm not bitter. I'm just saying, just what I would have preferred. On this day of conducting his own defence, of course, Tommy Robinson's real name is Stephen Yaxley Lennon. I mean, he pretends to be working class. Yaxley Lennon sounds such a working class name, doesn't it? Not. Cross-examined Janel Yanok. I can never pronounce.
Jamal.
Jamal, that's it. Jamal and his father. He was notably restrained, and many of his questions were ruled inadmissible by the presiding judge. These inadmissible questions included asking a witness what they thought another person was thinking, and what did they believe occurred at a meeting they were not at. Look, I'm no lawyer, I'm no scholar of the law, but I know that those two questions are, you can't ask questions like that. They're not evidence-based fucking questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is why you need to hire a fucking lawyer. Okay?
Yeah.
But of course he's pleading poverty. I mean, you basically, when he will lose his case. Okay? He'll just say, "Oh, I couldn't defend myself properly because the woke left have basically bankrupted me." No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
he'll play the victim. Anyways.
Yeah.
Tommy Robinson. Anyways, so that was on the first day. They were they're Jamal and his father. Of course, it's Jamal who's the victim here.
Yeah.
That was on the first day of the case, which I thought was a bit weird because he then on the second day was his opening statement, and I kind of think, hold on, don't you make an opening statement at the opening of the case, then cross-examine witnesses? So I don't know what the fuck's going on there, but anyways, Tommy Robinson has said he's not a racist.
Wait, that's his opening? Don't die there.
Tommy Robinson says he's not a
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's a perfect defense for racist libel is to say, I'm not racist. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, some of my mates are black. Fucking hell. Yeah, so sorry. I just thought that was fucking hilarious. I mean, this is a guy's boy. His whole career, being a racist. He's a professional fucking racist. He's a professional fucking hate monger. Yeah. I mean, the English Defence League. I mean, the English Defence were fucking street thugs. The racist street thugs. Whose real name is Stephen Yaxley Lennon, is being sued by Jamal Hijazi. The teenager was filmed being attacked in a playground in Almondbury School in Huddersfield in October 2018. Mr. Yaxley Leonard, 38, denies libelling Jamal, by falsely claiming he had attacked young English girls. Yeah, it was a lie. He is defending his comments made in 2 Facebook videos. Can I just remind people, he actually got banned from Facebook for this?
Yeah, no, that makes sense because Facebook has put at least marginal effort into trying to stop false information.
On the basis they are... hold on. He was defending his comments made in 2 Facebook videos on the basis they are substantially true. Well, no, they're not.
That's why it's libel.
Mr. Yaxi Lennon, who is representing himself, began his case by saying he's been mischaracterized by the claimant's legal team. Look, mate, you've got a long history of being a racist violent thug. So, you know, there's no mischaracterization going on. You know, you've got a long history in the public eye of being, you know, a hateful fuckwit. Their opening statement, which was a blatant attack on my character, is boringly predictable. Yeah, he would say that, wouldn't he? He said that the EDL was classed as
centrist. Yeah.
I mean, there's a class of centrists. Okay, so right, is that why, you know, anybody who was white or openly trans, you know, avoided going through to any town centre where there was an EDL march at their height, huh? Yeah, centrists, because that's what, you know, because centrists go around threatening, you know, people who, you know, people who are on the margins of society. Yeah. Is this centrist like Destiny? You know, who says he's a centrist and then uses the N-word? Is that you know the kind of centrist we're talking about? Or is it?
Well, I don't think Destiny calls himself a centrist, does he?
Is he a centrist on the far right? Is that what he's meant to say? Yeah. Yeah. For what it's worth, I'm not a racist. Yeah, you would say that. And I'm certainly not anti-Muslim. Fuck's sake, you keep going on. You know, you keep banging on, you know, about how Islam is the greatest threat to fucking Western civilization. You know, so it's... Well, actually, hold on. Calm down, Sophie. Okay, he's saying he's not anti-Muslim, right? There is a difference between... yeah, I know what he's going to try and do. He might try and do. So basically, the way racists try and get around the whole hate on Islam is they say, you know, they've got nothing against Muslims, but they have, you know, issues with Islam, right? In other words, it's a bit like saying, I've got no problem with Jews, but I've got a problem with Judaism. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Right? You know. Now, but the trouble is, right, you know, he's tried to, as I said, in recent years, he's tried to make out he's like the great pedo hunter, right? And, but he only seems to go after those paedophile rings, or those people suspected of being paedophiles, who have brown skin, who have who are Muslims, right? Okay, so you know that in itself says that you know he's a racist. But he said plenty of other things. You know, I remember once hearing an interview with him, and he said, "Yeah, I can't understand why you know Muslims can't just be like me." Oh, which is typical. This is that in a nutshell is you know. Gammon thinking. It's like everyone else should be, you know, white, cis-normative and straight like me. You know, they should go to the pub like me, and go to the football like me, and just be like me. They should be a clone of me, because I can't understand anyone who's a bit different. I mean, Tommy Robinson, I have described him as the king of the gammon, and that's exactly what he fucking is. Okay? And I do find his defence in this libel case, well, I find it fucking hilarious. Okay?
It is pretty bad.
I'm certainly not anti-Muslim. He said it was important people had a balanced view of the video, given that nearly 160,000 had been donated to support Jamal by the public. Yeah, and how much did you get? From lying in that video, Tommy. How much do you get? I have heard rumours, but I'm not going to say. Okay? But put it like this, we're talking more money than Sargon was getting on Patreon at the time. Yeah. Okay? I only reported what I was told. Yeah, and you were told by a racist. And racists generally don't have, accurate facts to, back up their bullshit. That is, I'm not doing here that is all I'm doing here in this court, looking for the truth. The truth, yeah. You would know what the truth is if it slapped you in the face. Bailey
wouldn't care.
Bailey McLaren, the boy shown pushing Jamal to the ground in the original video, said in the evidence he was not a bully. I would say that if I was physical, I would have to be provoked into it. There would have to be a reason, and it would have been a strong reason, the 18-year-old said. Mr. Yaxley Lennon asked Mr. McLaren if he was a bully. Hold on. Did the BBC just repeat? Oh, hold on, never mind. No, I can't stand bullying from a young age. I was affected by it, he replied. The mainstream media painted it out that I was a bully. He also said the incident with Jamal had nothing to do with race. That's another lie. I wonder, can they be done for perjury? And for that one. Mr. McLaren said in his witness statement that Jamal was a strange boy. Yeah, because he was different to him. Right. So I'm probably read. Anyways, look. We'll keep you posted on what's happening. But I predict Tommy's going to lose this one. But whether Jamal will get the compensation he deserves, I don't know. Because as I said, Tommy is trying to do a fiddle. In bailiffs being able to collect, repossessing stuff to raise funds he needs to pay. Anyways, oh yes, sorry, I put it in the wrong order. So yeah, there's Count Binface. Yeah, that's who Lawrence Fox is. Basically neck and neck in the polls with. Yeah. I find that funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Actually, I forgot to put it in, but I should. Actually, fuck it. I'll do it now.
Fuck it. I'll do it live. Sorry, that's an old meme.
All right. This is who you should be supporting for London Mayor. Sean Berry. She has spoken. I mean, don't get me wrong. Siddiq Khan's is a decent enough guy, right? In that he has spoken up for LGBTQ people, and he's that's I'll give him the thumbs up for that. The trouble with Siddiq Khan is though he's on the right of the Labour Party, okay, and so. To bit in favour of giving corporations favours, shall we say, which is kind of what they do, like to do. The corporate left, as it's called. You know, the Green Party are, you know, honest socialists. Yeah. And, you know, as I said, Sean Berry has spoken up. You know, she has said on at least 3 occasions I can think of, you know, trans women are women, you know.
Yeah.
So that's who I mean, I don't get a vote in the London mayoral election. Funny enough, if I lived about 2 miles away, I would. But there we go. Actually, no, it might be a bit further than that, but you get the drift. I live quite close to the London boundary. Right. Before, so what did I just say? It's Brain Fart Friday, isn't it? Anyways, I thought this was funny.
Yeah.
Dirty
Well, it's
culture.
always fun to see his expression as well.
Yeah. Of course, that's Derek. For those who have forgotten, yeah, because you know what some people's attention span is like these days. You know?
Yeah, well, mine is terrible, personally, but yeah.
Yeah. Who are you, by the way?
Me? I'm Ozma. I've invaded your stream.
Right. Okay.
Sent down from the space laser. Much like forest fires, summoning me is also something that the space laser can do.
Yeah.
Me specifically.
Actually, talking about the Derek Chauvin trial, have you had the National Guard withdrawn yet?
Yes.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
Anyways, I thought this was funny. Yes, but yes. For those who, I've got to remember, we're going to be doing an audio show.
I love that meme because it's so easy.
Yeah, we got to. Sorry, I keep forgetting. We're going to be doing an audio show in a few weeks, and I keep forgetting to read stuff out. Right. Basically, Ben Shapiro, famous for saying, facts don't care about your feelings, and he tweeted this back in 2016. And
it's his pinned tweet, isn't it?
I don't know if it is now, but anyways, somebody, I don't. It's not as if I keep up to date with Ben Shapiro's Twitter feed. Something tells me I wouldn't want to.
It is still his pinned tweet.
Right,
I've seen his Twitter feed before, so it's just like I could swear his pinned tweet. Yeah.
Anyways, his pinned tweet is facts don't care about your feelings, and someone has responded by saying, fact, Derek Chauvin has been found guilty on all 3 counts.
Yeah.
Because Ben, like many on the far right, are a bit butthurt about the verdict in the Derek Chauvin trial, to say the least. Talking about space lasers, Jewish space laser woman Marjorie Taylor Greene. Well, she's not being very subtle about
about her anti-Semitism.
No, about basically she has said that the jury in the Chauvin trial was infiltrated by Black Lives Matter. She basically gave an interview on Newsmax. Well, yeah, there's a surprise it would be on Newsmax.
And do you think there's any way, my first question, do you think there's any way the jury was not impacted by comments from Democrats and also by intimidation of violence from these left-wing groups like BLM and Antifa?
Absolutely not. I think the jury was intimidated. You had a United States Congresswoman come to Minnesota and basically threaten there would be more confrontation if the jury did not deliver the verdict she wanted, which was guilty. That is intimidation. And after the riots we've seen for the past year, burning cities, looting businesses, attacking and even killing innocent people like David Dorn, attacking police officers, federal monuments and buildings. There's no way a jury would be able to deliver any guilty other any verdict other than guilty.
This is basically a far right talking point that the jury was intimidated by mob rule. I keep hearing. I mean, I heard it from Candace Owen on Tucker Carlson. We're going to go through something else and something else Tucker Carlson said about this, because he's gone full fucking Alex Jones. Basically, no one knows for sure, but I would imagine it's bullshit. You know, I think we've all seen that fucking video, okay? The evidence speaks for itself, right?
Yeah.
You know? So, you know, and the jury, look, the jury was unanimous, okay? The evidence spoke for itself. I mean, the other one she has tried to push along with Caitlin Bennett is that George Floyd died of a drug overdose.
Yeah.
Well, you've seen. Well, obviously you live in Minneapolis, so you know this was all.
Well, I live in St. Paul, but yeah, close enough.
Yeah. Well, you live in the Twin Cities area, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll remember to say that in future. For those who don't know,
I mean, I might move to Minneapolis in the future, but that's not.
Yeah.
Or right now.
Well, anyways, I've lost my train of thought there.
Sorry.
You saw some of the trial. You saw coverage of the trial, and I think you said to me that this whole he died of a drug overdose is bullshit, because the toxicologist gave evidence to say that the level of fentanyl in his system wasn't high enough to kill him.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I think kneeling on someone's neck for 9.5 minutes and the guy being knelt on saying, "I can't breathe," pretty much, you know, is why, you know, George Floyd died. Okay? Stop it with the conspiracy theories, you salty fucking fascist cunt. Oh. So yeah, Tucker Carlson. First of two things we have with Tucker Carlson today. Tucker Carlson, Fox News host and white supremacist.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So we're going to get into this. This is a segment from his show. I don't know if this was on the day or the day afterwards. But basically, he lies his arse off in this. Okay? Just watch and I'll prove it to you.
Wait. Tucker Carlson lies?
Yeah, I know.
Politics shouldn't have any effect on any trial. Again, that's antithetical to what justice is. But they did intrude at every level of this case. We'll tell you how. After the verdict, Joe Biden declared that systemic racism is a stain on this country's soul.
A jury in Minnesota found former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin guilty on all counts in the murder of George Floyd last May. It was a murder in the full light of day, and it ripped the blinders off for the whole world to see the systemic racism the Vice President just referred to. The systemic racism is a stain on our nation's soul. The knee on the neck of justice for Black Americans. Enough of this senseless killings. Today's verdict is a step forward.
Systemic racism, a term that neither Joe Biden nor anyone else who uses it has ever defined with any precision whatsoever. But more striking is Biden's...
People have fucking... There's a whole clear definition of it. It's the biases presented in society, as well as the very setups of laws and other legal such stuff to make it more difficult, if not impossible, for Black people to get homes or get hired at certain jobs that pay more, etc., etc.
Well, black people disproportionately being arrested and shot by the police more than, white people. That's,
For the same amount, regardless of doing, like, similar amounts of crime.
Also, white people getting, lighter sentences for the same crime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of systemic stuff that one might argue is racist.
Yeah.
Posture. You'd think he'd be excited by this. Just this morning, as the jury was still deliberating, the President of the United States said he was praying for a guilty verdict.
I'm praying the verdict is the right verdict, which is, I think it's overwhelming in my view. I wouldn't say that unless the jury was sequestered now and not hear me say that.
Hold on. He
didn't say guilty.
He didn't say he was praying for a guilty verdict.
But also, he was saying...
And also, if the jury was sequestered, that means they can't fucking hear what he says.
Yeah, I know.
Basically, he's doing an Alex Jones. It's a very manipulative thing he's done there, right? And it's almost it's. I mean, he lies about Maxine Walters, but fuck, no, that's not what Biden said. I didn't hear him say he was praying for a fucking guilty verdict, right? He said.
I mean, you could imply that's what he's praying for because
he said the evidence was
obvious and overwhelming.
Yeah, but we all thought the evidence was fucking overwhelming.
Well, yeah.
Apart from Tucker, of course, who is a white supremacist racist.
Yeah.
When was the last time a sitting president weighed in on a jury decision before it was made? Answer: never. The White House was asked about this just a few hours later.
I'm pretty sure that's probably happened.
No, I don't think that's true.
I can't think of a good example, but I'm sure that's happened before.
Yeah, I can't think of an example myself.
I'm looking.
Hold on. I remember something about... It wasn't Timothy McVeigh's trial, but there was an appeal. Which prolonged because of his date of execution. And I remember George W. Bush saying, we'll have to do this legal stuff, but we'll get the job done. I'm sure that's what he said. So technically that was kind of, possibly interfering. But no, Biden wasn't interfering because the jury was sequestered, you dipshit.
He also chose his words carefully.
Yeah.
That Joe Biden hadn't actually said what he actually said.
You're not able to clarify what is overwhelming, the evidence, the case presented by the prosecution?
We're not going to get ahead of the outcome. I expect when there is a verdict, he will have more to say.
The president has talked about the importance of an independent judiciary. Why is it appropriate for him to weigh in on the verdict, even though the jury is secluded?
I don't think he would see it as weighing in on the verdict. He was conveying what many people are feeling across the country.
Yeah, he was just conveying what.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, that's what we all is a decent description of what we just saw.
Yeah.
The clip that Tucker showed was phrased in such a way it's just bullshit.
Yeah.
Many people were feeling. He wasn't weighing in as the single most powerful man in the world on a jury verdict that hadn't been reached yet. He didn't say what you saw him say. If that sounds like a familiar defense, it's exactly what Maxine Waters and her defenders throughout Washington are using today after Waters threatened the jury with violence if it didn't find a guilty verdict.
We've got to not only stay in the street, but we've got to fight for justice. But I am very hopeful, and I hope that we're going to get a verdict that will say guilty, guilty, guilty. I don't know whether it's in the first degree, but as far as I'm concerned, it's first degree. Well, we got to stay on the street, and we've got to get more active. We've got to get more confrontational. We've got to make sure that they know that we mean business.
Sorry?
So there's a reason police were all over the streets.
Yeah, none of those are... That isn't inherently violent.
Sorry. Getting active. That just means protesting you... Oh, I'm sorry. Black people protesting, that's somehow violence to you, is it?
Well, I mean, okay, so here's the double standard clear as day. Because... we all know Trump didn't explicitly say stuff when it comes to inciting insurrection, but clearly used words to suggest that the insurrection actions should take place. Now, Tucker has, I presume, defended Trump on this. So he's willing to defend Trump on the same argument.
It's not just that.
He's using against a black woman.
He has said that the insurrectionists are only guilty of trespass. Remember? He has said. Yeah, we've covered that before. Yeah, that's all he said. He said, they're guilty of trespass. Why they're in prison? Because they fucking tried to basically have an insurrection, a fucking coup. But because you're in favour of that, being a jumped up fucking fascist, Tucker, you're okay. And also there was hypocrisy from Fox News on this. Do you remember the Bundy Ranch bullshit from about 10 years ago? Down in Nevada? Yeah,
vaguely. That's the Oklahoma. Wait.
No,
Nevada,
the Bundy Ranch bullshit was I forgot what was his first.
Ted?
No, not. Ted.
Oh, okay. So there's more than one Bundy.
But basically.
Oh, that was the serial killer. God damn it! I'm mixing up names.
Yeah. Yeah. Look it up. Sorry, I forgot what the guy's first name was. And?
Sorry, I got distracted looking up Oklahoma City bombing.
Well, I asked you to look at the Bundy Ranch. Just type in Bundy Ranch.
The Bundy Ranch stand-up.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, the confrontation was 7 to 10 years ago, yeah. I don't remember it super well.
Well, did you look it up? Bundy Ranch.
Yeah, I did look it up.
Right. What does it say the guy's name was?
Well, I mean, there are several lead figures, so...
Go through them.
Or wait, was that lead figures? God damn it.
Hold on, I'll look it up.
There's like a fuckload of shit.
You're meant to be my
Bundy shit.
My researcher here.
Cliven Bundy.
That's it. Yeah, Cliven Bundy. That's his name. Sorry for our unprofessionalism, folks. Cliven Bundy, he was basically a moocher because he wouldn't pay his fucking taxes and wouldn't pay rent to graze his cattle when all the other ranchers in that area fucking were. Anyways, Sean Hannity supported them. They were having a standoff with the fucking FBI, and Sean Hannity being the fucker, of course this was happening under the Obama administration, of course would support the fucking Bundys. Now, of course, the Bundys went on to have another fucking standoff in Oregon. Oh God, it was about 2013, wasn't it? I remember that. It was, yeah, some other members of the fucking Bundy family. But anyways, the point is that, Fox News, will stand up for fucking right-wing douchebag militias, right?
Well, yeah, I'm sure Trump has weighed in on tons of stuff.
Oh, and of course, Sean Hannity, I think, also defended George Zimmerman, who shot Trayvon Martin. Remember that?
Yeah, I mean, of course he would do that.
Yeah. So, there is a great deal of hypocrisy when it comes to Fox News. But anyways, if you think that's the worst of Tucker, no.
Oh, no, I don't think that's the worst of Tucker. But I'm too aware of Tucker.
Yeah. So, Tucker Carlson has been...
Oh, my God.
This is pretty disgusting.
Yeah.
Tucker Carlson outed as a fan of gay icon Harvey Milk's killer.
Yep.
Yeah. So, Fox News host Tucker Carlson has expressed a long-time anti-LGBTQ act... could you read it?
Fox News host Tucker Carlson has been exposed as a longtime anti-LGBTQ activist after a clip from his college yearbook includes reference to clubs venerating a racist and the killer of gay icon Harvey Milk, the groundbreaking out politician who urged gay people to come out, was assassinated by former San Francisco policeman Dan White. Of course, it's a former policeman. Carlson is listed as a member of the Dan White Society and the Jesse Helms Foundation.
Oh, God.
Helms, a Republican former senator from North Dakota, who is notoriously racist and viciously anti-gay.
Yeah, that's a name I've not heard in a long time. But, I do know who
Well, I mean, this is from Tucker's college.
It doesn't matter.
No, I mean, that's why it's a name you haven't heard from a long time.
I kind of think being a fan of someone who kills someone else, kills someone just for being, gay, is pretty fucking despicable.
Yeah, I mean, it's fucking Grissom. It wouldn't surprise me if he was still a fan of all of that, because he hasn't done anything to suggest that he has changed his opinions at all, or Carlson had curiously defended himself on his television show the night before from a mentally unbalanced middle-aged man who had been looking at his dusty college yearbook, of course.
Before we go tonight, a quick piece of news from the world of big tech. We spent the day hearing from quite a few old college classmates, in some cases people we've been out of touch with for 30 years. It was nice, but here was the occasion for it. Jeff Bezos had one of his minions, a mentally unbalanced middle-aged man called Eric Wempel.
Tell me, Tucker, is he mentally unwell? Because, he exposed you for being the disgustingly bigoted fuck you are. Yeah, is that why? Is people exposing you for the evilness that you are, mentally ill now? Is that it?
Pull our dusty college yearbook and call around to see if we've done anything naughty at the age of 19. That sounds like fun. Let us know if you hear any good stories. But before Bezos drops any more of his billions on opposition research, you should know that it will not affect any election outcome. This is a news
Oh, for those who don't know, Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Times. Sorry, the Washington Post. Why did I... fucking brain farts!
show. It's not a political
New York
campaign.
Times, Washington
No one here is
Post,
running for anything or plans to. On the other hand, if Jeff Bezos wants to come over to reminisce about 1987 on this show, he's always welcome anytime. Before we go to...
Yeah, well, Tucker, you don't like it. Well, mate, And so here it is. There's the evidence. Tucker, basically, if people want to go and look it up, there's a very cringeworthy interview he did with Caitlyn Jenner. And yes, I have heard the news about Caitlyn Jenner, but we will talk about that on Monday. Because there's going to be a whole another media circus surrounding her in what she's about to do. Anyways, now there was recently a documentary which I have seen. It's called The Lady in the Dale, It's about a trans woman called Liz Carmichael, who started off as a con man, funny enough. But in the 70s, when they had transitioned, tried to design a car. And it's actually a really good... when I first heard, about, basically the spew was pioneering trans woman who was a con man. I thought, oh, fuck, here we go, transphobic bullshit. But I watched it, and it's actually made by LGBTQ people, so, But the interesting thing is one of the people who went after her, right, was Tucker Carlson's father.
Wait, are you suggesting that that Tucker Carlson had racist relatives as well?
No, well, transphobic. And his father is a Reaganite, bigoted piece of shit.
Sorry, I mean, because everything gets racists tend to be homophobes, tend to be...
well, they are. Yeah, bigots do tend to be intersectional, don't they?
Yeah.
Anyways, okay, so here's the trailer for that documentary series.
The rising tide, you're doomed to success.
She wanted to be known as a trailblazer. As any good criminal, she was thinking several moves ahead.
America in the early 70s, anybody could be anything they wanted to be. I got a mother of 5 who's invented a car. Is she famous? No, but she's going to be.
I'm going to knock the hell out of Detroit.
She thought that she would be the next Henry Ford.
It's a situation of David fighting Goliath.
She was afraid of spies from the big three.
There was a briefcase full of cash, and next to it, the .357 Magnum revolver.
It was a house of cards.
Law enforcement agencies start taking a closer look, and the press turned on her and said, this is a scam.
When they couldn't decide if the car was real or not, they started focusing on Liz. She was on trial as a trans person.
When the police started swarming in the house, they got her because she came back to say goodbye to her kids.
She was ahead of her time. She knew the pain.
She took it upon herself to defend herself in front of the jury. This is a woman who knew how to inspire.
She was one of those people that could sell anything.
The defendant has been charged with a plot to murder some of the witnesses.
It was just crazy. Someone started shooting.
This person was totally unknown until she showed up in Los Angeles promoting a 3-wheel car. Who the hell was she?
People need a hero. That's what America's all about.
America.
It's actually a really interesting documentary. I have seen, as I said, I've seen it, and I don't want to spoil it, but there's an interesting conclusion about her, which I'll let you. But the one thing I will say is, and this is why I recommended it to Aria. It turned out that Liz Carmichael was a libertarian. She was a big Ayn Rand fan.
Oh, okay.
Interesting that. Check it out. And as I said, Tucker Carlson's dad, was one of those journalists who went after her. Son like father. Anyways, right. This is a piece of good news. Yes, that's right. We do report on some good news sometimes. The LGBT community. So, White House kills off a abhorrent Trump plot to let homeless shelters turn away trans people. Can I just remind people that the Salvation Army, of course, run a lot of homeless shelters. If you in this country and in the United States, if you do they have charity shops? Do the Salvation Army have charity shops like Goodwills in the States?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, don't shop at them if you're LGBTQ. Yeah. Don't support them because they do turn away LGBTQ. They have turned away trans people in particular who are homeless from their shelters.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, they have.
100%.
Yeah. The Biden administration has scrapped a Trump-era proposal that would have allowed publicly funded homeless shelters to discriminate against trans people. The Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, that's a good name, announced that it was withdrawing.
Withdrawing the rule on Thursday, the 22nd of April, which was the first proposed by the Trump administration which was first proposed by the Trump administration in July 2020.
In a statement, HUD Secretary Marcia Fudge, that's a great name. Sorry. It's Friday. I can't help laughing at these things. Said the former administration's proposed rule change would have weakened the equal access rule, which ensures that everyone can access taxpayer-funded shelters and services regardless of gender identity or sexual orientation. Yeah. And yes, I do know trans people who are sadly homeless. In the United States. I'm
trying not to be homeless.
Access to safe, stable housing and shelter is a basic necessity, Fudge said. Unfortunately, transgender and non-binary confirming people report more instances of housing instability and homelessness than cisgender people. Yes, this is because families kick them out when they came out. Today, we are taking a critical step in affirming HUD's commitment that do you know what they really should say? HUD is giving transphobia the thud.
that somehow that seems too British for America.
Right, yeah. Today we are taking a critical step in affirming HUD's commitment that no person be denied access to housing or other critical services because of their gender identity. HUD is open for business for all.
That's how it's supposed to be.
The equal access rule was first introduced in 2016. However, the Trump administration refused to fully implement the measure. Last year, the Trump administration proposed a new rule that would have allowed officials in homeless shelters to ask transgender service users inappropriate questions about their gender identity. The proposed rule would have allowed... I've just read that bit. So, this is a piece of good news. We welcome every piece of good news we get, because unfortunately there's always a great deal of bad news.
Yeah.
I don't. Anyways, now this is a quite important story, and I will explain why. So, gaming giant Gearbox challenges Texas lawmakers over vile attack on trans kids. An exec at gaming giant Gearbox has stated the developer may expand outside of Texas if the state continues with legislation targeting the trans community. Now, why this is important is because the bottom line is always money. Yeah, I wish it wasn't. In some respects, but we do live in a capitalist, with a capitalist economy, and the bottom line is money, and basically this is the thing politicians are going to, have to deal with, right? And if basically corporations say, "Oi, don't be transphobic," they're going to have to take note, because otherwise they'll take their business elsewhere and leave that state worse off. Now, for instance, when North Carolina brought in that bathroom law which persecuted trans people, Pepsi Cola threatened to take their business elsewhere, and they have long been based in North Carolina. Wells Fargo also said that they would take their business elsewhere, and funny enough, that rule was scrapped. Funny that law was scrapped. Funny that.
Yeah.
Or if it's not being scrapped, it's certainly not being enforced.
Yeah.
So, this is what you do. You hit them in the pocket. That's where it hurts. Now, I know that there's a double-edged sword because, if there was profit in being transphobic, then the corporations would be transphobic. But, they don't believe there is, profit in being transphobic anymore. And that's a good thing, okay?
Yeah, that suggests the majority of people aren't transphobic, and the transphobic ones are just in positions of power. So to try to
this is why people should go out and vote, get politically active. Because I'll tell you something: if you don't, then the extremists will. Okay, and we out, the sane people in this world do outnumber the extremists. The sane, loving people in this world do outnumber. I do believe that. Yes, some people are stupid and they get misled, which is unfortunate, as we've covered. But as I've said, there are ways to deal with that. Okay. Anyways, Vermont becomes the 13th U.S. state. This is all from Pink News, by the way. Vermont to become the 13th US state to ban senseless gay and trans panic defences. Only 37 more to go. I mean, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was it West Virginia or Virginia who were the last state? It was Virginia, wasn't it? Yeah.
I think Virginia. That sounds right. A lot of it. I mean, the thing is, it's not the trans and panic defense. I don't think is really enforced in most states. It's just still in the law books. But banning that out of the law books does a great deal of good. Vermont is on track to become the 13th US state to ban the outdated and abhorrent. It's not outdated, it's just abhorrent. Gay and trans panic defences. The Vermont Senate unanimously voted Wednesday, 21st of April, to sign a state measure that will stop defendants from citing a victim's sexuality or gender perceived or otherwise to justify the killing of queer people. That's, it was Virginia, by the way. You were right. Yeah, I thought I was. Because that's the state which Sarah McBride is, who's a trans woman, is, I think she's a senator in the state legislature. Funny enough, two, positive stories today. Wow. There's actually hopefully it can get kicked out of Minnesota law, because it should. Right now it's just California, Illinois, Rhode Island, Nevada, Connecticut, Maine, Hawaii, New York, New Jersey, Washington, Colorado, District of Columbia, Virginia, and now Vermont. Yeah. Okay, and Kansas governor vetoes ban for transgender school athletes. Now, so I should explain, with Kansas, the governor is a Democrat, so she was going to do this. But obviously the legislature seems to be in Republican hands. Although I don't know if they're I don't know if they're enough to override. Yeah, I don't know if there's going to be enough. You see, obviously Arkansas, the governor, who was a Republican, vetoed a similar bill, but then there was enough Republicans in the legislature to overturn his veto. I don't think there's enough Republicans in Kansas to do this. Okay, so hopefully this will hold. Yeah. However, there are
obviously midterms coming up next year. And, well, you know, there's always a swing against whoever's in the White House. So we have to be vigilant. Now, similar thing from your neighbor from a neighboring state to you.
Yep, North Dakota,
Yes.
state of the well-known city Fargo.
So, North Dakota governor vetoes transgender sports ban. Now, this governor, Doug Burgum, he is a Republican, as you can see. Now, I don't... does it say here?
Well, he says that there are sufficient rules already in place.
Yeah. So... Well, you know, let's hope that holds. You know.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, anyone who understands sports, regardless of political affiliation, should be against some of the reckless bans on transgender athletes.
Well, all the sporting governing bodies seem to be against these bans. I mean, that's
Well, yeah, like and like I said, even if you're a Republican, if you understand sports, you understand why these bans are absurd, and if you understand sports and don't understand why these bans are absurd, because I feel like Joe Rogan has lost touch with any semblance of the philosophical aspects of sports.
Joe Rogan is alt-right soft, if you know what I mean. He's a gateway.
Yeah, no, I 100% know what you mean.
He's a gateway to the alt-right now.
Yeah,
and I hate to say
certainly now.
I hate to say this,
slowly
but
moved further to the right the longer his show went on.
Jimmy Dore, seems to be going down that route as well, unfortunately. Along with Bill Maher as well.
Yeah.
Now, before we move on to LGBT-related stories in the UK, I've got a story from my native South Africa. South Africa to introduce third gender option on national IDs. South Africa government...
Can I say something?
What?
So, there's something I empathize with you. You say South Africa, you say, and it's like everything else, very British. The word South Africa, you say with a very your original South African accent, much like Minnesota is like the one time. Me saying Minnesota is like the most Minnesotan thing that I say, and it, you know, it's just interesting. Sorry, I got distracted by that.
Well, I also say "yeah" instead of "yes," if you've noticed that.
I have not.
I say "yeah" quite a lot. That's also South African, and also the other thing is I once was, because in Britain, right, apartments are referred to as flats, right? And I sort of said to someone, "I'm going back to my apartment," and they went, "What are you American?" And I went, "No, that's what we always called them in South Africa, apartments." Yeah, South Africa's government has committed to offering a third gender option on national identity documents to better accommodate non-binary people. Every South African is assigned a 13-digit national ID number at birth. Is a system that was introduced during apartheid. When the number indicated a person's race to decide how they would be treated by the state. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. No, I mean, that makes sense for the horrible fucking people that were in the government, but god damn, that's fucked up.
The code, which no longer indicates race, still gives the details on the individual's date of birth, citizenship status, and gender. There are only two options for the code for gender, male and female. National ID numbers are used for everything in South Africa. Yep. From voter registration to applying for a passport to opening a bank account. According to Courts Africa, around 530,000 South African people identify as non-binary. Let me tell you, that's over 1% of the population. I think South Africa's population is around 50 million.
Yeah, that sounds right. It might be. It might be. It's one of those things where people might, if the more accepted it becomes, that number will likely grow.
Yeah, but the country's Department of Home Affairs is now planning a consultation with the LGBT plus community to change that. Now, this is good news. Do you want to know one of the most anachronistic things about apartheid South Africa?
What?
An uber conservative government. Right. In 1974, right, white trans people got equal rights. Right? They had equal legal protections to any cisgendered person. In 1974. Right?
Gotcha. So it's like an Israel situation.
That was 30 years before that happened in this country.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the weird things about apartheid South Africa.
Well, I mean, like if the main thing you section stuff off is based around race, I can see why.
Well, no, homosexuality was illegal, and it carried a 7.
Oh, okay.
It carried a 7 year. It was a bit like you know the situation in Iran. They allow for trans people, but basically it's a way of basically it's if you're a gay man, it's either go under gender reassignment or be put to death. You know, it was a similar situation in apartheid South Africa. Let's just say that.
Okay.
But it's one of those weird things about apartheid South Africa, and also, you know, if you technically, if you were a white South African, you had a pretty. I mean, South Africa had one of the highest standards of living in the world for white people.
Well, yeah, that oftentimes happens when people are oppressed.
Yeah. But I would point, because I always had people say, well, you know, South Africa, you know, she said, white, the people had a high standard of living and good human rights. You know, I said, yeah, if you were white. And you didn't speak out against apartheid. Yeah? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so that's good news from South Africa. And let me tell you, there is, before anyone mentions it, yes, I know there is an awful lot of homophobia and transphobia in South Africa. I know. But South Africa is a country which suffers from one of the biggest wealth inequality gaps in the world. And that is a consequence of apartheid. Funny,
yeah.
The racial apartheid might have gone, but the economic apartheid, is still there. Anyways, stories from from Britain. Right. Okay. So, Judith Green, who was a founder, who's a TERF, who's a founder member of Women's Place UK, which is a TERF hate group, okay? Or transphobic hate group, populated with TERFs, okay? She was giving evidence to the Women and Equality Select Committee. And she got asked a question by Nicole Richards, who is a Tory. And Oh, Judith got
Oh,
found
hateful
out.
people don't like questions.
Just watch it for yourself.
You said that this when one person in a married couple seeks to transition, it usually is the male and affects the female in that relationship. Do you have any numerical data on this or any evidence to back that up?
I don't have data.
Question is again.
Yeah.
TERFs haven't got a clue. They're just fucking typical bigots. They just want to make generalizations without any fucking facts to back them up.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's just like all the trans women in sports bands, and they get asked, like, do you know of any trans women athletes in your state? And they're like, no, but...
Yeah.
And to you, Judith, you also state that the spousal consent clause prevents applicants who wish to coerce or deceive a usually female spouse into continuing a marriage. What evidence do you have for this statement?
Right, I should explain this. Okay, so in this, basically, if a trans person is married, okay, at the time of wanting surgery, their wife or husband can basically put a stop to them having surgery.
That's horrible. That's absolutely horrible and wrong, and removes the bodily autonomy of anyone who's trans if they happen to end up in a relationship.
Statement, and is the same true for spouses of trans men?
So I'm really thinking about the evidence at the time of the same-sex marriage coming into law. There was quite a lively discussion on this.
The answer to that, you don't have any evidence to back.
Yeah, she doesn't.
That statement.
No, there's evidence from Stephen Whittle.
That's bullshit. Stephen Whittle was a trans man and he's a good bloke. Okay, that's bullshit.
Who has described exactly that scenario of deception. There is evidence from individual women who've been in that situation, who have described that scenario. And then there is my own observation of the social and cultural context in which pushes women into a particular direction.
What?
What?
Fuck.
Yeah, she's trying to say that...
She hasn't got any fucking evidence for anything she is saying. This is your typical...
Yeah, she's also implying, obviously, that trans men are following cultural trend and will regret it.
Oh, yeah, this is the... Oh, trans men are just lesbians who've gone a bit far. Bullshit. Yeah. So... Yeah, completely, embarrassed herself. Good. Yeah. Let this be a lesson. This is your typical fucking TERF. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is about as much evidence as they'll provide, oftentimes. Or they'll provide quote-unquote evidence that doesn't support whatever their claim is.
Okay, we can't...
Or debunk stuff.
We can't ignore it. She's trending. So, let's see.
You're much better at following trends than me.
Okay, to explain to people, the reason Caitlyn Jenner is trending is because she's filed papers to run for governor of California.
Yeah.
I thought about putting it in the running order, but it happened like about 10 minutes before. And usually I need to read stuff up, okay? We will obviously talk about this at some stage, okay? We're going to have to, all right?
Yeah,
so just to tell you.
misgendering is just, like, bullshit.
Yeah, so just to tell people, yeah, we are aware of it, but I kind of need to look into it.
Yeah.
Right. So the LGB Alliance, who got charitable status this week, and so next week, I presume the Ku Klux Klan are going to get charitable status. I mean, the one thing the LGBT Alliance have in common with the Ku Klux Klan is they basically preach well, let me explain. LGBT Alliance preach cis supremacy. The Ku Klux Klan preach white supremacy. Get my drift? Both bigoted as fuck. So, if the LGBT Alliance, preach what, similar shit to the Ku Klux Klan, then why shouldn't the Ku Klux Klan also get charitable status? Anyways, so John Nicholson, who's a Scottish National Party MP, has been sent a torrent of abuse from LGBT Alliance followers. Demands explanation for charity status. Now, I have seen the letter he sent. Here it is. Activist friend showed this to me. Hold on. So yeah, he's sent a pretty lengthy letter in protest to. Well,
I can read it if you want.
Well, no. Okay. All right. Well, read part of it then.
Okay, thank you for your email. As someone who's been receiving it, been on the receiving end of a torrent of abuse from the LGBT Alliance, I find your decision disturbing. In theory, my disagreement with the Alliance is over policy. I am an openly gay man, a member of LGBT plus community, and a supporter of GRA reform. Support for this modest reform, already passed by many of our European neighbors, has resulted in the Alliance tweeting that I am a misogynist, a homophobe, women-hating, and rape-enabling. The Alliance has raised money by promising to retweet comments about me no matter how offensive. Blah, blah, blah. It's clear from your published decision today that you share my concerns about Alliance activities. Can you therefore explain to me why the abusive nature of Alliance's conduct hitherto was deemed insufficient reason to refuse its application? Moreover, did the Alliance provide you with any explanation for its past conduct? Did the Alliance provide you with any promises about its future behavior or that of its directors, one of whom has tweeted offensively and obsessively about me more than 100 times in the last year? Again, not the behavior one could imagine from another charity
That's
director.
pretty obsessive, isn't it?
Yeah. Now that it's been registered as a charity, would the past behavior I've described result in its charitable status being suspended or revoked, if reported?
Yeah.
Yep. That's the gist of it.
Yeah.
Lots of questions on why the fuck is this a charity?
Yeah. Now, there was another article in Pink News, which we'll get to when it loads.
You can only... Oh, wait, there we go.
Yeah. Gaining charity status may not be the big win the LGBT Alliance thinks it is, and here's why. There has been an outrush of anger over the Charity Commission's decision to confirm the registration of the LGBT Alliance as a charity. At the time of writing, the Commission's post has had almost 2,000 comments, a far cry from its average 2 or 3. A lot of people are enraged and confused about how the LGBT Alliance, on an organisation that promotes sex, not gender, hashtag, could be considered a charity. Okay, I can explain that actually. I spoke to a friend this morning who's a trans activist, And what I mean by trans activist, she doesn't just stand outside buildings waving a placard. She actually works in the community in support of trans people. She told me one of the reasons.
Well, although waving a placard is still more than the average person.
Yeah. She said one of the reasons why is because when they applied, they didn't mention anything to do with trans. They just promoted the fact that they support lesbian, gay, and bi people. That's
which they
their
don't.
language. Basically, they just didn't mention anything to do with trans, right? But as with many words, the meaning of charity is in the legal sense, and the common understanding are not necessarily the same. So, what is a charity, and how does the LGBT Alliance qualify? What is a charity? To be registered as a charity in England and Wales, you must satisfy... now that's interesting. So they're not registered in Scotland, or,
that was always the case. Yeah, it was just England and Wales.
Yeah, so I wonder what will happen in Scotland if they try to apply for charitable status there.
Well, they might not. They might know they can't.
You must satisfy two key requirements. You must have a charitable purpose, and you must
which
prove...
they don't.
Yeah, and you must prove a public benefit. Well,
which they also don't.
Yeah, hatred is not spreading hate is not a public benefit. You must also be subject to the control of the High Court in its exercise of its judicial
jurisdiction with respect to charities.
Yeah.
Oh, but LGBT Alliance is established in accordance with the law of England and Wales, so there are no issues on that front. But what about the charitable purpose and public benefit? But also, if you don't provide that, that sounds like they could be get into legal trouble. I'm actually I'm suddenly entertained by this.
LGBT Alliance is established in accordance with the law of England and Wales. Oh, you've read that. Sorry.
Yeah.
What is a charitable purpose? Charity starts at home, or does it? People's understanding of what is charitable may differ, but under the law, specifically the Charities Act of 2011, there are 12 specific charitable purposes and one open category, any other purpose. The objects of the charity, a statement outlining the charity's purposes, must fall within the charitable purposes of the Charities Act 2011. If they do not, the organisation cannot be said to have a charitable purpose, and there's no charity end of. LGBT Alliance has three stated purposes in its Articles of Association. One, to promote equality and diversity for the public benefit.
Sorry.
Yeah, I know. That is funny, isn't it? To promote human rights, and particularly the rights and freedoms of those who face discrimination on the grounds of sexual orientation. And three, you see how they've managed to do this without mentioning trans?
Yeah.
Yeah. To promote any other purposes that is charitable under the law of England and Wales. The Charity Commission found that the first two purposes were capable of being charitable under section whatever, the Charities Act 2011. The advancement of human rights and the conflict resolution or reconciliation or the promotion of religious or racial harmony or equality and diversity. What? Hold on.
Yeah, no, that's what's required. So that's one of the potential.
But it's the harmony
arguments.
It's the equality and diversity bit. Well, they don't support equality and diversity.
Yeah.
The third.
They just say they do.
Yeah, the third purpose was held to be charitable under any other purpose category, but it's not enough to have purposes which are capable of being charitable. A charity must also be exclusively charitable.
Ooh, this is where it could be fun.
Exclusively charitable. If an organisation is set up to pursue a mix of purposes, some that are charitable and others that are not, it will not be a charity. Well,
An organization whose purpose is political, unlawful, or against public policy will not be...
No. I just want to comment on that first bit.
Sorry.
Because I know that the Church of England, which would obviously have charitable status, owns land and rents it out and owns shares in arms manufacturing, fun enough. I don't know how that works. An organisation whose purpose is political, unlawful, or against public policy will not be exclusively charitable. That means it cannot be a charity even if it has some charitable purposes. This is political.
Yeah.
So, one of the leading cases of this principle is McGovern v. Attorney General, where a trust set up by Amnesty International was held not to be charitable because it sought to change the law and influence government policy. Two objections raised against the LGBT Alliance was that A, its purpose was political, and B, its purpose unlawfully discriminated against transgender people. In a nutshell, there were objections that the LGBT Alliance was not exclusively charitable. On the political purpose front, the Commission found that the LGBT Alliance did engage in some political activities, but these were not its sole purpose and were related to its charitable What?
Oh.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, it is.
Charitable purposes. Going forward, the LGBT Alliance will be subject to the Commission's guidance on campaigning and political activity and may not enjoy some of the freedoms it once did. Right. But the thing is, the people who run these kind of hate organisations are extremely manipulative.
I like what's said next.
In terms of discrimination against transgender people, the Commission said that in principle the promotion of the rights of lesbian, gay and bisexual people may be pursued without denigrating the rights of transgender people. However, the Commission also said that it had some
that had come across some inflammatory and offensive content on LGBT Alliance's social media pages, which appeared to be demeaning or denigrating the rights recognized by law of others.
The Commission raised these concerns with the LGBT Alliance, which it said has amended its social media policy in response to promising to adopt a less defensive and confrontational approach. This could be a major sticking point for the LGBT Alliance. Yeah. As we'll see in a minute. The Charity Commission has said it may consider taking regulatory action if the LGBT Alliance demands or denigrates the rights of others, i.e. transgender people. To sum up, promoting the rights of lesbian, gay and bisexual people while respecting, or rather not denigrating or demeaning transgender people is capable of being a charitable purpose. You see, that's what they've done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've made it the on paper.
And on paper, at least, this is exclusively charitable. But what about the public benefit? What is public benefit? It is not enough to have a charitable purpose. An organisation must serve a public benefit. There is the presumption that a purpose which is charitable under the Charities Act 2011 is automatically for the public benefit. A charity must prove that its purpose is the public benefit. Unsurprisingly, public benefit has two elements, public and benefit. And you thought the law was complicated. The public part means that the benefit must be enjoyed by the general public or a sufficient section of the public. The Equalities Act 2020 provides an exemption...
2010.
Sorry, 2010. Yeah, I should know that. Provides an exemption allowing a charity to provide its benefits to individuals with a protected characteristic. Sexual orientation is one such characteristic. This was one of the objections raised against the LGBT Alliance. However, the Charity Commission said it had received evidence that the LGBT Alliance's purposes benefited lesbian, gay and bisexual people and the wider public.
No.
This included raising awareness and educating the public about equality and diversity issues and providing support to lesbian, gay and bisexual people. Right, now, if they carry on with their supposed raising awareness, which is basically transphobic propaganda, obviously it's going to be a lot more subtle than it has been. So people need to be vigilant on that, okay? As for the benefit, the benefit element, a benefit must be identifiable, capable of being proven, and not based on personal views. Any detriment or harm resulting from charitable purpose must not outweigh the benefit. Here again, the Commission received objections, and here again, the Commission cited the fact that LGBT Alliance had modified its social media policy. However, the Commission's concerns over demeaning and denigrating content about transgender people will undoubtedly be a thorn in LGBT Alliance's side going forward. Any resurfacing of inflammatory and offensive content that is demeaning and degrading the rights recognised by the law of others may be grounds for regulatory action by the Commission. The LGBT...
By the way, can I say something about the LGBT Alliance? Here, their most recent Twitter post, let's dial down the rhetoric and resist further polarization. We often find we have more in common with those who oppose us than may appear. A link to LGBT Alliance and the Wokerati Meltdown by Joseph. That was what the link was to.
Right. Well, I think some people should be complaining about that. As a charity, LGBT Alliance will be subject to higher level of scrutiny. It will have several duties to comply with, a breach of which may trigger regulatory action. The directors at the LGBT Alliance now have an overriding duty to operate the organisation in the furthermore of its charitable purposes for the public benefit. It may come as a surprise to some, but the National Rifle Association, there is a British version. Last year, it was issued the formal regulatory advice by the Charity Commission for acting outside its charitable purposes by engaging in recreational shooting. That does seem a bit weird. The NRA is being monitored closely by the Commission. The directors of the LGBT Alliance also have several administrative duties, including a duty to have regard to the Commission's public benefit guidance and a duty to report on public benefit in their annual report.
So they need to make an annual report to
Charity Commission, LGBT Alliance and Regulatory Action. The Charity Commission has come under sustained criticism for its regulatory approach. The National Audit Office and the Commission was passive and ineffective. That's the opinion of the National Audit Office. Emboldened perhaps by this criticism and amendments to its powers under the Charities Protection and Social Investment Act 2016, the Commission has taken a higher stance on regulatory action in recent years. In its arsenal, the Commission has the power to open a Section 46 inquiry for serious issues, including where a charity's independence is seriously compromised or where breaches of trust would harm public confidence in the charity sector. Well, I kind of think
they're nothing but breaches of trust. Like, what the fuck?
Well, I would argue that by giving the LGBT Alliance charitable status, it has dented confidence. Yeah. Where the Commission's opens an inquiry, it has several powers at its disposal, including investigative powers, the power to enter premises, and winding up powers. The Commission also has general regulatory powers unrelated to a Section 46 inquiry. It can require charities to hand over documents, issue official warnings, disqualify trustees or directors, and issue advice or guidance. Now, the one good thing about the LGBT Alliance getting charitable status is, A, they have to open up the books so we find out who's funding them, and 2, they'll have to list their directors. Right?
Yep.
Now, it is suspected that they are getting funding from the United States. Yeah, it's all your fault. So
don't blame us. You started it in the UK. You started the United States in a sense.
The Commission has issued official warnings to numerous charities, including the National Hereditary Breast Cancer Helpline and the Institute for Economic Affairs. Oh yeah, do you know
the NRA?
Do you know that I actually know the director of the Institute of Economic Affairs?
I did not know.
It's a libertarian think tank, a guy called Mark Littlewood. I actually know him. Well, I knew him many years ago before I transitioned. If trustees or directors act outside their charity's purpose and do not provide a public benefit, the charity may also have faced tax liabilities. So what next for the LGBT Alliance? The LGBT Alliance has now officially been registered as a charity by the Charity Commission. Going forward, it must adhere solely to charitable purposes for the benefit of the public. If it deviates towards any activity which caused the Commission to be concerned that its content which is demeaning or denigrating the rights recognised by the law of others, it may face regulatory action.
Okay, this is a 4D chess move. I'm kind of happy that they have charitable status now, because I think it's going to fuck them over.
Right, we are drawing to a close on another edition of Botha Rants. I know it looks like I've got a lot more stories, but I actually have to now keep to 2 hours because in leading up to me basically being the audio version of this on LRN, which will start hopefully a week Wednesday, all being well. So let's see what anybody in the chat. Hi HK. Sorry, I'm just looking at the chat. Hold on. Let's do that. Sorry, I'm just making it easier for me to read.
That's fine.
What homeless setter is worth? Sorry.
What homeless shelter is worth supporting? I said Project Live Out Loud might be decent. It's a LGBTQ homeless shelter that I'm aware of in Minnesota because I'm from here. I'm not. They might. I'm not 100%, but from the research, and
well, if you live in Britain, support Shelter. They're a homeless charity. They I send them money. They're great.
Okay.
What was Zimbabwe like? I know very little about Rhodesia, etc. I didn't live in Zimbabwe. I lived in South Africa.
Yeah.
No, Zimbabwe.
You don't know of every country in Africa.
Yeah.
Just because you lived in South Africa.
Yeah. I lived in the Republic of South Africa. Zimbabwe is a separate country.
And quite a ways away too.
Well, no, it borders South Africa.
Oh, it does. Okay.
Yeah.
That explains the question more, because like if it borders it, you could have taken a trip there potentially.
Charity's core DNA is to be charitable. Well,
yeah.
No shit, yeah. But the thing is, the LGBT Alliance aren't charitable. They're basically a front for neo-Nazis. Seriously. There's been research.
They've recognized many. There have been fans, much like J.K. Rowling.
Well, no. I mean, J.K. Rowling's not. Well, she's a TERF, but I think she's a neo-Nazi as such.
Well, I mean, she's liked posts and or replies from neo-Nazis, from known neo-Nazis and neo-Nazi supporters. So
yeah. Anyways, we've come to the end of another edition of Botha Rants. Okay, Ozma, do you want to tell people where they can find you on social media?
OzmaInTheDark.com. You can find my various other social media links there. Hopefully I can get my life around more and maybe get back into Twitch streaming. So I apologize if the Twitch stream is a bit blank at the moment. I'm also on The Fluid Voice every Wednesday and Sunday, which I'm trying to. I'm still working with Arya about potentially getting that audio on that network as well. Yeah, and that's about it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we will both be back on Monday. As I said, we're going to record another video after this about a specific topic or a specific subject, shall we say, or a specific person. And as I said, I'll be posted up either later tonight or tomorrow. If you like this video, give it a like. If you like the work we do, then please do share, links to this channel and links to
especially Sophia. Sophia does most of the work here.
Yeah.
I just occasionally show up.
Well, you do a lot of reading for me when,
well, I mean, I try to help. Like, I care about you. I'm still your friend. Like.
Anyways, you disturbed the YouTube prayer.
Sorry. Blasphemous that way.
Yeah. If you've got any feedback, drop us a comment down below. And most important of all, please subscribe. And thank you to all the new subscribers who took me over 200 subscribers. Fifth of the way to getting monetized. And I should point out, because someone actually asked me about this, monetization doesn't necessarily mean YouTube ad revenue. Okay, it means being able to do super chats and having a community tab for merchandise and stuff. It's a lot more than just collecting money from adverts for curtains. Anyways, as I said, we will be back Monday, and undoubtedly we'll be talking about Caitlyn fucking Jenner.
Yeah.
Anyways, in the meantime, please take care of yourselves. Have a great weekend. Stay safe, and peace out.
Bye.